asks, I know you spent time with it, Dale. There's a video sales pitch sequence of landing page, content pages, and then a sales pitch video. What are your thoughts on applying the STRONG method to these 3 stages of a video sales funnel? Are some techniques more important to some parts of the funnel, or just hit them with the full pitch STRONG arsenal in the final pitch video?
Here is what I think is the audit for your internet-based marketing. Whether it's in a conversion funnel, it's a landing page, it's a squeeze page, right? My number one thing is novelty for this kind of internet stuff. If it looks like the last generation of internet marketing, which are these long squeeze pages, yellow highlights, all caps, red circles, centered large text. I think everybody knows what this stuff looks like, right? I think you immediately going to create a fear reaction. And so irrespective of your content, just the fact that we have all seen this for 10 years, very infrequently does it yield good results to buy something from one of those types of squeeze pages. So it just doesn't pass the novelty audit, right? It doesn't feel fresh, it doesn't feel new, and it doesn't feel safe. One way to think about this is, why do ad agencies exist, right? To create new ways to frame ideas and products with current trends and sensibilities baked in, right? Why does one ad agency win the Ford account, keep it for 3 years, and then lose it? Okay? I mean, it doesn't make any sense that they would lose it on one level, because they have relationships, they've built teams, they built a working cadence with the company, they've produced commercials, they got library of visuals. There's all kinds of synergies built between a big corporation and an ad agency. Why would they ever lead that ad agency? Because they feel like the ad agency has lost the nuance or the touch or the freshness or the relativity to the public, right? And they want to have a new relationship with the consumer through the visual nature of the advertising. So in internet marketing, you are advertising, okay? And it is in essence, in the same way Ford doesn't wake up, whoever's the chief marketing officer at Ford doesn't wake up tomorrow and go, huh, whatever happened to that style that we did 10 years ago? Let's go back to that, right? Because it would, well, you know, in your own mind, it would immediately feel dated, not fresh, lacking forward thinking, and you'd be scared of the product that 10-year-old marketing would would be providing you. So they obviously don't do that. They wake up and go, where is the American consumer now? What kind of marketing? Who's the marketing leaders? Obviously that's Apple, to some degree, the people who launched Windows 8, clearly BMW. I mean, who's leading marketing? What are they finding in the American consumer sensibility, and how do we get there as well? So just on that one point of the audit, which is novelty, I think you have got to find a way to communicate to your consumer, your buyer, with these internet funnels, that this is not a $99 PDF you wrote in your mom's basement and are trying to extract value from the buyer without returning the same amount of value. Got to find a fresh communication, right? And in fact, I think that's the #1 driver of where you have to take this internet marketing. If it looks the same, feels the same, smells the same, it's going to be the same, all right? The next thing in terms of pitch mastery and this material, just the fundamental level related to internet marketing, is visual. The bar has been raised, okay, in terms of the visuals that you provide. There is so much, I mean, you can get graphic design on Fiverr. right? There are so many crowdsourced design contests that if your design is last generation or a couple generations ago or is just bad, and your video is just a Skype camera that you throw up in your office, it doesn't meet today's standard. I mean, people are producing video in studio. They're editing it, and it has visual acumen and taste and dexterity. And so just along these two metrics in terms of internet marketing, if you want relevance, sustainability, and attention of the potential buyer, just the novelty of the look and feel and the strength of the visual delivery. Better video, not from a Skype camera, you know, with a couch in the background. I mean, I see this all the time from professionals, right? Take that stuff seriously. The bar is really being raised on video production and graphic design at the point of interface to your buyer. Okay, so I think my last thing is these internet marketing environments are no longer one and done. All right, you got to be willing to spend money. You got to be willing to do multiple attempts. You've got to recognize that you have competition out there who are really, you know, spending money and doing, taking into account the visual nature of these environments and getting their messaging right and their video right. And you're competing against people in some ways like us, right, who are thinking very, very hard and spending money and doing retakes and trying to get it right. So my last point on this internet marketing stuff is it's no longer one and done. Like whoever's advising you, flip up a flip phone or open up your Mac and shoot some Skype video and post it and there's your blog. Right? I think that is misdirected for many of the reasons we talked about here, not the least of which is setting the frame. Right? So if you are setting your status and the frame around you as being shot in your home office with a Skype camera, right, then that does all kinds of things versus being in a studio and professionally produce. And I'm not saying overproduce, okay, but I'm saying make it appropriate, you know, for both the price point and the audience that you want to attract. Okay, so those are my very specific thoughts on, and this doesn't boil down to, well, make it look good. All right. This boils down to get your status high, so when you push on the customer, right, it in terms of you can give. If your status is high, then you can end up giving the buyer autonomy. You don't have to sell them, right? If your status is high enough and you've framed yourself well, when it comes down to really the you nail the hook point, get the deal, get their money, you can give them autonomy of choice because your status and your framing will carry the day. You don't have to be afraid to let the customer alone, to let the buyer have his own thought process and make his own decision. You can move backwards and have him chase you to the final close. But you can't do that from the low status position, from the low value position, and that's going to, at some level, be related to visuals. And here's my, I mean, we probably talk about this for an hour. Like, whether you like this kind of show or not, watch the show The Voice. All right? The content is pretty low, like this diatribe between the contestants, but the production value on that is so extreme and high, right? You lose your mind at how high the production is. It carries the whole, I mean, the production values are a character in that show. Watch some of these, and I don't want to kind of reveal too many of my, you know, hobbies and craziness, but if you watch some scenes from the Star Trek movies, all right, the sets aboard the spaceship are unbelievable. That is a character, and it sets, the dialogue pretty much blows, right? And the storylines are very weak in most of the movies. But the on-spaceship sets are unbelievable, and they are why people go to see that that brand, right? And obviously, you don't have a budget to create a spaceship, but you can have there's much more relief on the level of content that you have to provide if you have high status in your production values. It will carry the day when you fall down or slip or can't keep up a high tone or extraordinary content delivery the whole time, right? Status, framing, visuals, production value, all right, novelty. That, to the degree you can deliver that over the internet, you're going to do better than your peer group. Okay, so those are my thoughts.